All right. Hello. I'm recording in Zoom today, trying something new. I had Doug Conrad in IT set up the Zoom account here, so hopefully this will be a little bit easier than what I've been doing, which is like a YouTube upload, which is just time consuming. Okay. Hello, here we are. Almost to the end. It's been fun. I've really enjoyed reading your work. And so today we're talking a little bit about revision, and then we're going to talk about flash fiction and why I put those two together. So first of all, you are editing. I saw some good peer critiques last time. I was really, really pleased with your diligence to follow the formula that I gave you in giving a feedback sandwich. And I want to talk a little bit about themes that I saw. So as you are reading through and critiquing, you can kind of ask these questions and see if you can answer them also for the story. So two things that I saw, and this happens all the time. I mean, all the time. If you do an in-person writing workshop, you'll read a story, you'll workshop it, you'll talk about the story for maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and then everyone will say, so what is this character's main motivation? And that tends to be the biggest hole in all first drafts or third drafts or fourth drafts or whatever it is that you are before you're almost done. And so that's a question that I asked a lot of you in your draft of your previous story. What does this character want? What is his or her main motivation? Why are they making this choice? What need is being met for them? If there is a lack of conflict in your story, or you're reading a story that seems to have a lack of conflict, then back up a little bit and say, what does this character want? What's their main motivation? If you don't know the answer, you can't answer that question after reading the story once or twice, then you should ask the writer. Say, hey, here's an area where I think that you could dig in and uncover some truth and get to that like meaty part of the conflict. Because if we don't know what the character wants, then we don't know how to root for that character. We don't have any emotional attachment to that character. We don't have an emotional investment in the conflict. The character doesn't really have a full emotional investment in the conflict. The whole thing's going to fall apart. But if we know what the character wants, even if it's something super basic, like this character wants a sandwich, right? If you think about any great Spring Sing skit to be Westmont cultural relevant, right? All the plots are so basic, right? They have to be because it's so short. We always know what the character or group of characters want. You know, the characters from Sesame Street have been kicked off PBS and they want to get back on the air. Okay, that's a plot, right? This spork wants to be a spoon. Hey, we know what you want, okay? Now, all of your stories are far more complex than that. Thank goodness. I'm so glad. So you can kind of dig into the complexities of a person's soul and what they really, really want. And then when you say what they want to be loved. Then you could say, why? Why do they want to be loved? Why do they want that? And you can etch into who they are as a character, and that will make your story richer and deeper. The other question that you need to ask yourself, you need to ask your peers in your review group is, why now? Why today? Why is this event happening on this day in this story? Why did we pick this day? Now, it doesn't have to be like, it's his 18th birthday, right? It could be, totally. But that's not always what we're looking for, okay? But something like in Rosalind's story from last time, she's got a ton going on. It's really great. It's Friday in the story. Somebody gets killed. Hey, those are two really significant things. But we don't know why it's significant that it's this Friday, right? So one of the questions I said was like, hey, Roz, why this Friday? What's significant about this Friday? It could be, well, this is the Friday that the air conditioning went out. Or, well, this is the Friday that is the first Friday of the month. And on that Friday, this happens and this happens. And that's why it could lead to this murder, right? We need to have those details. Why now? Why today? What does the character want? What's their main motivation? Those are the things that I want you to be looking for. If you've already done your peer reviews, go back over your letters. They're not due till Sunday, and say, hey, did I address these issues? Did I ask these questions? Do I feel like I have the answers? If you do, and you think that the writer whose story you read answered those questions, you can say, hey, I know exactly these characters' motivations. I feel super confident that I know what they want, and I feel really invested in this plot, and I absolutely understand why it's happening right now. That's really great. In your book on writing with Stephen King, he has a lot of really great revision tips. And I would love, and in this section, these chapters that you're reading for this week, I would really love for you all to go through, to have read this as you're reading through to revise for your peers. He has a lot of great insight here that I think will help you as you continue to provide insight to your peers. So that's my little plug for keep reading. It's still good. He's getting really nitty gritty and applicable. I mean, really, really nitty gritty and applicable, especially for next week when you're revising. Okay, we're going to talk more about revision on Sunday. So let's talk about flash fiction. Why did I pick flash fiction for this week? Well, believe it or not, I think flash fiction goes along really, really well with the idea of critique and revision, which is the season that we're moving into. Okay, you're revising, you're giving critique for your peers' work this week, and you're submitting a revision for next week for your final. Flash fiction cannot miss a drop. A whole story has to be tightly compact into a small space. It's like the poem of fiction, okay? Word choice really matters. Sentence structure really matters. What you would normally say in 5 sentences, you have to say in 1. What you would normally say in 3 paragraphs, you have to say in 2 sentences. And if you are struggling with this concept, that's fine. Write a full draft. Write something really big. Let it be beefy. Let it be 6 pages. And then cut it to bits. And give yourself a lot of freedom to do that. Okay, I have this whole paragraph. How can I say this in 1 sentence? Play around. And bonus, you're posting these to a discussion board, so you can ask questions. You can post your story and say, hey, here's what I was trying to convey. Here's what I wanted to do. Engage with your peers on this, and they will help you, and I'll help you. And I really think that this process of taking a concept, a story idea, and culling it down to a page, 2 pages, 3 pages is really helpful when we're thinking about our own revision. That process of being a self-editor, you kind of have to edit yourself in flash fiction. You edit yourself right away. You keep it tight. Having that precision of language really helps you as you move into tightening up and revising your short stories. I know a lot of you have short stories that really could push out to be like 15 or 20 pages long, and I'm making you keep them at 10. So the flash fiction exercise will help you do that tight, kind of like the core work of writing, so that you can be ready to trim it up for next week. There are a lot of great resources for flash fiction, as you can see. If you look in the course materials module, there are so many flash fiction resources. So if you are stuck or you're confused or you want to read more flash fiction, you've got a ton there. And if you have questions about it, let me know. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Bye.